Hey everyone, welcome back to Week Ahead Astrology Breakdown. I'm Matthew Oliver with Stillwater Alchemy, and I have 3 announcements with new offerings and goodies to share. Number 1, I have a new Venus journal that's available right now for purchase. This Venus journal is a 30-day guide to help you embody and evoke the blessings of Venus, such as love, beauty, creativity, and pleasure. Given that Venus will be retrograde later this year, I felt it was prudent and important to really evaluate these Venusian qualities so we can further reflect, be introspective, and go deeper into this work so we can greater cultivate her blessings. So I'll put the link for that journal in the description of this bio. Number 2, I wasn't sure if I wanted to release this as a public offering because it is a more intimate experience with regards to electional astrology, but I've received really beautiful and outstanding results that I want to make it public. So moving forward, I'm also going to be offering beauty elections, love elections for everyone. So what does this mean? In astrology, there's a branch called electional astrology where you can literally pinpoint it down to the second to engage in something, whether that is surgery, whether that's going on a date, whether that's getting married, starting a business, whatever you may desire. I've specifically worked with regards to plastic surgery, beauty procedures with my clients, everything to do with the face, chest, stomach. I've done it all because when we're looking at these types of procedures, you're not just looking at Venus, you're looking at Mars, you're looking at the moon, you're looking at the moon phase, and then you're also composing these transits for the individual's chart to have the greatest possible impact. A lot of people, they'll try and plan a surgery for a certain part of the year, but there may be things in the chart that could either delay healing or maybe not lead to a pleasurable result. I've worked with some clients who had a surgery before they worked with me. They didn't get a good result, so they had to go in and get the surgery again. And depending on what type of surgery you're getting, it can range anywhere between $1,000 to $10,000 to $15,000. So to have that support going into it is advantageous. And also in those cases, I work with the client not only just to pick the auspicious, opportune time, but then also to facilitate and do that inner work around self-worth, beauty, all those things. So for that, feel free to email me to see my offerings and packages. The investment starts at $150 and goes up higher depending on what we're doing. If we're just electing when you want to maybe get filler or Botox, that's on the lower end. If you want to do where we're planning surgery, that entails more one-on-one work, just so I'm clear on what we're doing and to facilitate the growth there. And then lastly, given that Stillwater Alchemy just had its 4th anniversary or 4th solar return, for the next 3 days leading up to the summer solstice, I'm offering 15% off all my services, all my readings. I've now opened up my books for the next 3 months. So the promo code is HBD. Happy birthday. And I'll put that in the description as well. So you can just type in that promo code. It takes 15% off your entire order. That also includes the Venus journal. That also includes any and all Venus elections. Like I said, feel free to email me. When I invoice you, I will take off that 15%. And lastly, everyone who purchases something, no matter what it is, whether it's a reading, a consult, a journal, you'll be entered into a draw, and I will choose one individual to receive a 30-minute session, whether that be astrology, tarot, coaching, and I will draw that winner after the 21st, after the summer solstice, okay? So thank you all for all of your love, all of your support over these years. It truly means the world. And let us dive into the week ahead, shall we? There's lots of beautiful transits to enjoy. So we're starting off on Monday, June 19th at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So here we see the moon is still in her home sign of Cancer, making that sextile to Uranus, and also now making that applied trine to Neptune. So remember that we're still in this new moon phase. The moon is fresh off of her new moon expansion. Also, for those of you who know what the Schumann resonance scale is, it literally was off the charts this weekend. I'm not sure if any of you felt it. I know I felt it. I received a lot of sleep the past 48 hours. And so if you're still integrating, you're still feeling like maybe things are shifting from the weekend, you are not alone. I'm also quite hopeful, again, with the moon in her home sign, making that sextile to Uranus, that there'll be some shifts or maybe some things that'll help you recalibrate to your advantage. Also, this trine to Neptune as well, given we're in a new moon phase, I would be really cognizant of your dreams, your spiritual practices, your spiritual hygiene. What are we doing to support ourselves at this time? Also, it's important to note that this Mercury-Mars sextile is now in close activation within a 3-degree orb. The exact sextile will happen later on this week, but this can also be really good for correspondence, negotiations, asserting ourselves with our words. If maybe you're a bit more shy or timid with how you speak to someone, like a superior or a family member or authoritative figure, that this could be a great time for you to have a bit more forte, a little bit more gusto in how you speak. So how you advocate for yourself, what you are wanting, what you are needing. Also, if you're maybe feeling a little bit spicy and flirtatious at the start of this week, that's a good vibe to engage in. So use this Mercury-Mars sextile to your advantage to add passion, excitement, or power to your words, to your thoughts, to your business negotiations. All right. Now, Tuesday. This also too, like Monday, we're leading into that trine, but Tuesday we see this exact trine between Moon and Neptune. So I often find with, especially when the moon is in Cancer, having that moon trine to Neptune, it can really add in synchronicity, added intuition, added creativity. I also feel like having Mars being in very close proximity to Venus, that Venus-Mars conjunction, that there may be elevated ideas or passion or inspiration or creativity or something where you can really sink your teeth into, so to speak. It's also important to note that it's the last day of Gemini season before we hit that solstice on Wednesday. So you may also be reevaluating or hitting a climax or a culmination of that Gemini ruled part of your natal chart, which also might be adding to this tension or passion that you are feeling. And so just take a note of that, of specifically what you're feeling, what you wish to feel, and is there something that you are feeling called to create or to move into or to experience, let's say in your intimate or close relationships, that may be coming into focus. And again, like I said, that that Mercury-Mars sextile may be pushing you to speak or to use your words to get what you want, especially given that we're now finishing off Gemini season on Tuesday. All right. Also, this can add a little bit of drama or intensity as well, given that the moon is now opposing Pluto retrograde. This is the first time we're seeing this aspect again, given that Pluto just stationed retrograde a week ago. So now we're coming back to this emotional intensity. This can also be you discerning what is fact versus what is a feeling. Are they the same or are they not? And one thing here I would encourage on Tuesday is, that's just kind of like coming through right now, is to not take things personally. If you are not getting what you want, or if you're hearing a no or a not yet, whether that be literal or metaphorical, that God, source, universe is protecting you. It is not trying to inhibit or delay pleasure gratification. I really think that also with this moon Neptune, if you can lean into prayer or your spiritual practices, it will allow you to see things in a different way and potentially reveal a new path that you didn't know was there. So that when you're feeling all of these things, or when there might be a power or an authoritative energy being put upon you that you know how to navigate that. And for some of you on Tuesday, you might be the one holding space for others when they feel stuck or things aren't moving in their direction or maybe hopeless or powerless, that you will be the one they come to. And of course, with the moon, this can relate to caregivers, how we were feeling when we were younger, maybe needing to feel safe or supported. So there's a lot going on naturally just with the moon Pluto on Tuesday, but just be aware that there might be other avenues or resources or heavenly support available to you. And if you need that support, do not be afraid to ask for it. All right. Now, Wednesday. Wednesday is juicy because the moon is conjunct Venus and it's also making that square to Jupiter. And it's the summer solstice. We have the sun now in the sign of Cancer. So this is a fun and gentle reminder to take a look at the Cancer ruled part of your chart, as now literally the sun is shining in that part of your life. There's going to be emphasis and attention there. And of course, happy solar return and beautiful blessings to all of our Cancerian angels watching. So this, to me, with the moon conjunct Venus and the moon making a square to Jupiter, this is like a cornucopia of goodies. And this is also kind of like being careful what you wish for. This is also kind of maybe to not make decisions on a whim or to satisfy an instant gratification. Going back to Tuesday for 1 second, this moon Pluto, if you allowed your emotions to get the better of you and to act impulsively, you might have a situation when you're like, oh, I now need to address this person and that situation because I acted in a certain type of way. That is now opening up certain avenues to be either enjoyed or experienced. You might also find as well that, is this really what you wanted? Sometimes with a moon Jupiter square, it can be like eating ice cream for dinner. It feels good in the moment, but is this really what we wanted moving forward? So just being aware of this, is the thing that you really want kind of like all that glitters is not gold. For some, it can be like, there's all of these beautiful blessings and pleasures in my life. How can I truly enjoy them all? It can kind of be a good problem to have, so to speak. So just being aware of that. And this kind of first week of Cancer season, we'll talk about this more next week when the trine goes exact, but I want to put this out there for everyone, is that the sun is now making that trine to Saturn, given that Saturn is retrograde, it's getting closer and closer. So I do want you to pay attention as well, not only to the Cancer ruled part of your chart, but also the Pisces ruled part of your chart, because this is the first time that we're seeing a sun Saturn trine since Saturn has been in Pisces. So it can be a really good opportunity for either you to be seen by putting forth the work, the boundaries, the discipline, and the mastery in this part of your life, in these two houses that Cancer and Pisces rule. It can also be reestablishing power and authority within yourself, within your family, within your dreams, given that even though it's very wide, we're still now also influencing and getting that aspect to Neptune. So this is just, I want you to have that in the back of your mind if you're feeling called to step into greater power, leadership, authority, or to exert more of your boundaries or what you need, to really honor that. Because again, on Wednesday, we also see this exact sextile between Mercury and Mars. So this is when it exactly happens at 18 degrees. So for those of you that have placements in any of the mutable or fixed houses, you may also notice some of those Martian or mercurial themes activate. So lots happening on Wednesday, lots of really good things, and lots of things that even if it doesn't happen in your physical world, there's a lot of downloads or a lot of things we can initiate at this time to get the ball rolling as the moon moves into her crescent phase, which is calling us to initiate this action, to do the things, to maybe be pushed out of our comfort zone to grow and expand. Now, Thursday, be mindful. be mindful on Thursday. We have the moon in Leo coming off of that direct conjunction from Mars. And then also Mars and the moon are making a square to Uranus. And this is also potentially activating something that you may experience for the rest of the week. And this is kind of what I was saying before yesterday with all that glitters is not gold, or to be very careful of what we are engaging in with others and our relationships, because a couple things. This moon in Leo is in a fixed sign. Fixed energy can manifest as loyalty and prudent, but can also manifest as being very stubborn. It is likely on Thursday, if you are not feeling how you wish to feel, that you are going to want to either express that or to move this energy with the moon conjunct Mars, or either going to be like pain or irritation or inflammation that you are wanting to switch or to change, especially given the close aspect to Uranus. Now, this can also manifest as spicy romantic time or feeling a certain type of way when it comes to intimacy, if you know what I mean, which again may make you feel a certain type of way. Now, this is also a reminder to make sure that you are protecting yourself if you are to engage in such activity, because Mars can also represent infection and disease. So we want to make sure that we are wise and protecting ourselves in all ways, but also just protecting our heart when we are negotiating, when we are affirming, when we are standing up for what is right in our lives. And sometimes too, you can't really control or try to predict how a moon, Mars, Uranus square may activate, but I don't want you to hold it in. If you're feeling frustrated or angry or frisky, that you can express that you're not trying to judge it or sweep it under the rug, because this is going to get more and more activated as the week goes along, as Mars gets closer and closer to that exact square. And if you want to know what to be mindful of, or where maybe confrontation or intense outbursts may occur, look to the houses in your chart ruled by Mars and Taurus, so that you can get ahead of the 8 ball, so to speak. This could also be like if you are at a certain job or work in a certain field where you're dealing with customers all day long, where they might pop off at you because they're uncomfortable or they feel like they're not getting their money's worth, and you're just the messenger. And so if you know that's going to be happening specifically on Thursday, that you can mitigate certain things or just be forewarned that it's not you per se, it's just the energy of what the collective is facing. There also might be those what are you doing type texts that come in throughout the day. And so it's up to you whether or not you want to engage in such activity. All right. Good. It's also Pride weekend for many cities as we're wrapping up Pride season. So that would also be interesting to see how that's going to manifest with the Mars-Uranus square. And again, this isn't all bad. Mars-Uranus can be instant, spontaneous passion and inspiration and things that are going to move us forward. I just want to be mindful of the moon here, because the moon is kind of not in a great position when she's so close to Mars. And then Uranus, like, the moon in Leo wants to be in this beautiful, fabulous space, and she's dealing with two energies that maybe will push her outside of her comfort zone and make her do things that she might not normally do. So it can also be a nice vibe to experience things, even if it is anger, frustration, or anything else that you might not normally feel, to move you out of a situation that isn't aligned. So if you're feeling something on Thursday, to not judge it, to be open to where it's pushing you out of into a new space or into a new frequency where maybe you wouldn't have been had it not been for that uncomfortability or for the rest that your body needs. That's also one thing as well. Be aware of burnout or getting sick or feeling under the weather because you're just go, 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 go. That can also be leading back to Wednesday, this moon Jupiter square, moon conjunct Venus, moon hitting Mars later that day. Is that if you spread yourself too thin, you'll naturally be susceptible to fatigue or a lowered immunity system. So just if you need the rest on Thursday, take it. Now, Friday. It's interesting Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because the moon will be facing some tricky aspects, but then also has some benevolence coming in as well. So let's take it one day at a time. Friday, we have the moon in Virgo making that direct trine to Jupiter, while also making an opposition to Saturn retrograde. This can manifest in there might be something in front of you where it's going to require a lot of work or dedication or time, but you know that the end result is going to be benefic. Or maybe it's like, I just need to get this project or this deadline fulfilled. And then there's a beautiful trip away next week, or you get to enjoy your holidays in July. So you just need to focus and get this done. It can also be a beautiful manifestation of all of your hard work coming to fruition. It can also manifest as maybe a new role or a promotion that you've wanted, but is now just going to take a bit more work and time to set yourself up or to learn new responsibilities. Or maybe you're going to have to work outside of your designated hours and maybe not get paid for it, but your paycheck or your new salary is going to be reflective of this new power, this new responsibility. This can also be, lastly, if you're meaning to have a conversation with a superior, with a maybe authority figure or a family member, that there is going to be new insight or new expansion, especially with regards to criticism, feedback, how to make something better. That's all moon in Virgo. So especially for individuals who are wanting to expand in their career, and maybe outline where they've been working extremely hard and how they feel about the time and effort they put in, Saturn in Pisces, that this would bear beautiful fruit. So take that as you will. I would take advantage of that on Friday, whether it's internally or externally, to showcase how hard you've worked, how much time you put into a certain project, to expand yourself, to either increase your self-worth and autonomy, or to seek out new opportunity in whatever part of your life for new blessings to enter. Okay. Yes, that's a big part on Friday. I'm also really excited for this moon Jupiter, because I just think that whenever the moon is in positive aspect to Jupiter, especially a conjunction or a trine, there's a free flow of energy. There are natural blessings. So this can also be you giving positive, constructive feedback to someone in your life, and it really allowing for expansion, especially if it's in a case of putting forth a boundary or having a heart-to-heart, this really going well in your favor. Now, Saturday. Saturday is interesting because we do have the moon making this applied trine to Uranus while still making a separating trine to Jupiter, which is quite nice. But then we also have the moon throughout Saturday making an applied square to Mercury and an opposition to Neptune. So this is one of those days where I'd be very cognizant of the energy you're taking on from other people. And like I said, it's interesting that it's Pride weekend and how this is going to manifest. I would very much trust your intuition on how you wish to proceed. And this honestly can be one of those weekends where maybe you do throw caution to the wind and you just want to have a good time, making sure that you're still protected, but maybe you're always very dutiful and diligent on getting chores done on the weekend or trying to get ahead of the week. And maybe you're like, I just want to have some fun. And I want to temper that so I'm not allowing my mind to take over, because this is a moon ruled by Mercury. So you might be like, go, 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 or your mind is racing, or you have a lot of things on your to-do list, or maybe you did get that big promotion, or there's a cornucopia of blessings that you're trying to manage for not only you, but for everyone else in your life. And you're like, I just want to have some fun. I'm going to put all of these responsibilities on hold for just tonight, and I want to enjoy these Neptunian fantasy blissful moments of reprieve. And then that way the moon Uranus can be like, great, we've set some boundaries, we've allowed things to work out in our favor, now we can enjoy this energy. But I feel like if you're trying to get so many things done and you're using certain substances or energies or relationships as a distraction or as a stress or coping mechanism, that's where all this energy might harm you more than support you. So use your words to be very intentional and say, I am choosing to do this. I'm going to put this on hold for a moment to enjoy that, or I'm consciously making the decision to engage in this. And that way we're using Mercury to support us instead of hinder. And this can also be one of those things where maybe you are just a bit confused on where you are at your journey right now or what you need. And again, using your words to make sure that you're understanding where you sit in a certain relationship or in your job is going to be helpful. This would also be a weekend where I wouldn't respond to every text right away or respond to every email. There might be confusion on both ends, or you not receiving something properly or not getting all the information. So it might honestly be better, instead of trying to get a whole bunch of work done and being pragmatic, like maybe the moon in Virgo would like, that you just go and play, that you're not trying to do everything, but just simply be. Then on Sunday, depending how you engaged on Friday and Saturday, things can shift either way because we're still working with that square to Mercury and that opposition to Neptune. This can kind of be like the morning after to see how you fared the evening before. But also here, the moon is making a trine to Pluto, which I also just believe with regards to a certain relationship or self or an opportunity or a realization that something will be made very clear. Like the truth will be revealed. And that might be obvious if you're in a maybe party or pleasure environment. You're like, oh, this is now the truth, or I've now found out someone's true intentions or their true colors. It doesn't always have to be that dramatic. It's just, I think with all this mutable energy and then the weekend ending off with a moon Pluto trine, that there's going to be something revealed. And this can also be what you truly want in love, in relationships, in wealth. Or like, I don't want to keep going through this same cycle, or maybe not getting the dream that I desire. This is what I actually need to do to make this come true, or to finalize these plans, or to cement something that I've always wanted. So I just think that after maybe a confusing or intense weekend, that there will be a light at the end of the tunnel, that there will be distinct clarity on what is needed from you to move forward. Okay. Boom. So the astrology question of the week comes from Espiritu Tangible. Does the ascendant of the moment matter when looking at transit charts? Just trying to determine if the houses / rising signs of the moment matter when looking at transit charts generally. This is a great question. This speaks to electional astrology. This is more of an intermediate question, understanding, but I thought it ties in well, especially since now I personally am offering this service to kind of give you a background of what it looks like and entails. So let's just go back to the chart and use this as an example. So let's say hypothetically, we'll say 9 a.m. on June 25th, Pacific Standard Time. You're like, if I am to go on a cute brunch date with my partner, would this be a good time to do so? So we look at this chart exactly, and we see that the ascendant is in Leo, and the ascendant is conjunct Venus and very closely conjunct Mars. So matters around maybe passion, connection, intimacy would be very intensified at this time. Also, the ruler of Leo is the sun. We see that the sun is in Cancer in the 12th whole sign house, and the sun is making a trine to Saturn. The sun is also making a sextile to Jupiter. So this could also be a beautiful time that you would get to connect more deeply with your partner. Maybe you're bringing up fears in the relationship, or maybe one of the people in the relationships is speaking more vulnerably and they're allowing themselves to connect deeper with their partner. And then the both of you might be able to set more time for one another, or one of the partners may be able to recommend different structures or new foundations that are going to support them and the relationship moving forward. The thing with electional astrology is we're not just looking at the transits. We would then take this chart from 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on June 25th and compose it onto your individual natal chart, because you might have Leo ruling your 6th whole sign house, which means that the sun would be what? In the 5th whole sign house. So then that would influence how that date would manifest. Maybe now you're talking about matters of work, given that the ascendant would be in the 6th whole sign house of your chart. And then you'd be talking about how you might be balancing work-life balance with your partner. So that's where this gets to be more interesting. You're not just talking about the election with regards to the current transit. You're superimposing it onto your own chart to make it as specific as possible. And so that's how it gets to be fun. Let's say with a Venus election or a beauty election, is that you're going to superimpose it to your own chart so that it amplifies your own personal beauty. Let's say a 1st house activation, or in close conjunction with your natal Venus, or Venus making a great aspect to your ascendant, which just doubles or quadruples the blessing. And you can really go ham on this. Like, you could elect when to go get your teeth cleaned, when you want to initiate an appointment, when you want to do anything. And sometimes, like I have in the past, in terms of releasing content, releasing a sale, or things like that. Sometimes I don't, to be honest, now, because I've done it so much in the past. I just allow my intuition to guide me. And then sometimes I'll do it retrospectively. Or if someone sends me correspondence that elicits a very intense reaction from me, either way, I'll sometimes look at the chart of that moment and be like, oh yes, Mars was involved, or oh yes, Saturn was involved. One time I went on a really wild date and it was so weird. And I'm pretty sure the gentleman was drunk in retrospect. And I was like, that was a very, very strange date. And when I went back to look at the chart, Mars was opposing the ascendant, and Mars was in the 7th whole sign house of that election chart. I was like, oh yes, that relationship was probably not going to last, or it ended, and it did, rather abruptly on my part. I'm like, I got to get out of here. I have an early appointment the next day, which I did. But it's just wild and beautiful how the astrology can be so exact. And of course, we can use that to our advantage. But again, this does take understanding, because let's say you're trying to plan a date and you're reading the chart wrong, you don't have the right understanding, then you might be trying to do something and get the opposite effect. It'd be like saying or reciting a spell and then having your wand blow up in your face. You need to make sure that you're being smart and responsible and ethical with these practices. And that's why I always recommend to all clients, either work with a professional astrologer to get the right times and to have a great understanding of what you're doing. But most of all, trust your intuition, because your intuition is going to tell you, like, if should I do Tuesday or Wednesday? Your intuition will tell you what the right day is every single time. So trust that. But if you want to take your knowledge of astrology and take it to the next level and start experimenting with this, yes, to answer this question, it very much does matter. What is the rising sign, the planet of the rising sign, the aspects that the planet of the rising sign makes. And then as an additional step to go further with the electional astrology, you then take that chart and compose it onto your own natal chart to see specifically where that energy is going to manifest, especially if you're wanting to create a specific result with regards to pleasure, work, money, investments, etc. Okay. So let me know if you have any questions or further questions about electional astrology. All my offerings, products, promo codes, I'll put that in the description of this video so you can engage. That promo code, HBD, for 15% off your entire order, that will expire after the 21st. You have the next 3 days to use it as many times as you want. My books are now open for the next 3 months. If you have any questions about the electional astrology, please email me. I'll put the contact link below. And I'm wishing you a fabulous and beautiful week ahead. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.